All right, well, let's go. Well, welcome everybody, and thanks for joining. My name is David Sloan, and today I'm going to run through the Megaport Internet product with a quick demo on deploying Megaport Internet within our portal on all the different key components that you can deploy internet services into. And this is part of the ongoing Megaport Live tech drop-ins, so it's well worth your while um, dropping in these and catching up on what's going on in the world of cloud connectivity. Anyway, so I'm just going to cover off from a level set basis a bit of Megaport's proposition so you can understand the context of what we're talking about. So Megaport's network proposition is based on the concept of network as a service, or NAS as it's commonly known. And NAS provides a network in a way that's much more aligned with cloud subscription models, with services being available on demand and in near real time. NAS provides a whole host of underlay building blocks for organizations like yourselves to deploy against a whole plethora of technical solutions that you might want to fulfill. And this is to match your operational business requirements. So what makes NAS platform different from other service platforms? Well, initially with Megaport, it's the reach. Megaport NAS is part of a virtualized global ecosystem built on pre-existing hardware. It gives you the ability to deploy capacity to all the well-known cloud service providers, giving access to thousands of IT-based services, as well as having connectivity to 930 data centers across the globe. And this can be done in near real time in a software-defined manner. And you'll see that in my demo. It has a very predictable performance, like having your own private fiber lines. Your data travels on our private global network with no internet in the core, ironically, as we're talking about internet. And all of these components can then be linked together with virtualized network cross connects. And we call them VXCs, and they are typically layer 2 MPLS pseudo wires. So this means that when your traffic is on our network, it's highly secure. And you, as with the internet product and all of the services that we provide, you pay for only the capacity you wish to deploy, as it's pre-built and virtualized. You can scale that capacity up and down on demand, and you no longer have to worry about traffic spikes or wasted capacity. And this ensures your end users have good application performance. The Megaport on-demand components are very versatile, allowing you the ability to launch virtual cross connects, or those VXCs we talked about, across our network to create internet connections to things like physical ports within data centers, connected devices like virtual routers, virtual firewalls, and virtualized SD-WAN elements within our network, facilitating connections to branch locations or those critical remote resources. This makes NAS very cost effective. This can be designed, deployed, and fully operational in minutes, and can be available for only the term you need. And this reduces your upfront costs to zero, as your Megaport assets are virtual and require no capital investment or hardware provision. And as I said, you can design, deploy, manage, and monitor it all on a single secure portal. It's point and click. You can bring your cloud service keys, and this makes establishing private connectivity and internet connectivity simple. But for those who are more sophisticated, both Terraform and API calls are available for a whole host of deployment and management scenarios. So here's a quick snapshot of our global reach. You can access Megaport in over 930 locations across the globe. Please note there are two types of locations where you can connect to Megaport's network. There's an installed location, and these locations contain Megaport hardware. And there's an enabled location, and these locations share the same campus or metro area as a Megaport installed location. Megaport hardware is not located within an enabled location facility, but you can access it through private intra-campus or intra-metro cross-connects. And as you can see, we have strong presence in NAM, EMEA, and APAC, with a continuing ongoing look at the Latin American countries where we are increasing our presence with the likes of Brazil, which isn't on this map. Okay, so a quick overview to the connectivity options available for integrating Megaport internet services, and I will demonstrate these on the portal very shortly. This is a physical connection, the blue port at the top, the blue device. This is a physical port within a data center. You connect your infrastructure via a cross connect, and the capability of the port ranges from 1 gig to 100 gigabits. And ports, as I said, are available in 930 data centers globally, ready for immediate use. And you can connect up to 100 VXCs into that port. So, you can have multiple internet VXCs if you're acting as an NNI for enterprise customers. There's the Megaport Cloud Router, the green device. The Megaport Cloud Router is a virtual layer 3 routing service, represented here as a single VRF. It enables seamless traffic exchange between 2 or more cloud environments, but that could also include internet connectivity. And this is also available in about 90 locations. And it has things like prefix filtering and access control lists to help you manage how you manage your internet traffic on these devices. And this device doesn't require any physical infrastructure. It acts as a transit point at the edge for multi-cloud or hybrid deployments. And then the last device is the red device, the Megaport Virtual Edge. The MVE creates a virtual point of presence, and it allows you to deploy an on-demand virtual network function. This allows you to deploy SD-WAN gateways, virtual routers, and firewalls using your own license and management. And this is all within minutes. With coverage also in about 90 locations, MVEs are ideal for extending your network to edge and bridging public and private routing domains together securely. So, what do we offer with the internet proposition? Well, we offer immediately scalable and orderable internet capacity from 20 meg to 10 gig, with larger bandwidths available on request. Flexible terms including committed bandwidth on term and increased capacity available by the hour for peaks in that internet traffic. These are all fully deployable via API and Terraform. And our standard service deployment, as depicted at the top, will offer you a single static rooted single /31 IPv4 address or a /64 IPv6 address. A simple, easy to set up method, ideal for small or predictable networks. And for more sophisticated users, you can bring your own PI space and advertise this using BGP. And we offer a range of resiliency options to improve availability and your business continuity. We can provide additional IP addresses and allow the use of local private ASs, which means you can use BGP even if you don't have your own PI allocation. So on to the demo. And I'm going to jump into the Megaport portal and show you quickly how you can provision Megaport Internet to ports in Germany, an MCR in the United Kingdom, and an MVE in the United States. Okay, so let's go to the portal. So here we have the Megaport portal, and you would get access to this. And as I say, you can still use Terraform and API to generate this activity, but this is the GUI that we offer. So as you can see, I've configured internet connections here, but I'm going to configure a second one to show you how that process works. So as you can see, I've already deployed a MVE here, and I've deployed a red diversity zone. So I may want to choose to increase the diversity of my device. So I hit connection, I clicked Megaport Internet, and as you can see, I connected to the first one, which was the red location, but now I'm going to connect to the blue to give myself some diversity. So I can either select blue from here, or I can just have all of them. It also, what's useful is it tells you the DC that you're on-ramping to and the latency from the device that I'm using to that DC and that internet access router. So I'm going to select that there. I'm going to scroll down, click next. Okay, so I would give the device a name. This is auto-populated. I'm going to set a rate limit, so I'm going to select that to 2 gig at this time. You've got the useful ability to shut down the VXC. So if you wanted to do any continuity or disaster recovery testing, you can do that without any impact on your overall network. You don't have to strip it down and rebuild it. You can just leave it in situ and just bring it back up again, and BGP or the static route will reconverge. You've also got with the MVEs, you've got options for multiple interfaces, virtual interfaces. I've selected 2. I'm going to build one into my VNIC 1, which if I sign for internet, and then I'm going to scroll down and I can see that I can either assign the VNAN if I choose to. I can add the terms. I can take it from no minimum term, basically charged by the hour, all the way through to 36 months terms, and so that's the flexibility. I can then add API resource tags if I choose to manually. I'm not going to do that for expediency, but I'm going to hit next. There's a summary here of what you're actually ordering. So Megaport Internet to Ashburn, it's 2 gigabits. It's on my VNIC 1 interface, and the price for that service is there. So we add that, we review that order, and we then that will validate to make sure the capacity is there, and we simply just order the service. So it's really quite simple. Okay, so we let that service begin deploying. That's deploying, in the process of deploying. So the next connection here, the MCR. It's worth mentioning, I think, that the MVE can have up to 24 connections connected into one device or higher for higher bandwidth MVEs. For the MCR, I'm just going to create a connection. This allows a maximum of 25 VXCs plugged into it. And the MCRs do go up to 100 gig in some locations. So I'm going to click Megaport Internet. I've clicked the red one before, so I'm going to click the blue one in London. So let's click next. All the same sort of information as the other one. I'm going to select a 5 gig service this time and click next. Next again, and add that VXC and just simply order the service. So it's that simple. Okay. And then finally, the port. As I say, ports are available in 1, 10, and 100 gig in most locations. I can create a connection, add the Megaport Internet. I've selected the blue in the previous time because I'm going to create diversity this time. So I'm going to select red. That gives me a slightly longer latency of 1 millisecond to the on-ramp, but that's quite insignificant, really. I can then select a rate limit, say, of 1 gig in this instance. I've got all the term information, all the VLAN information, if I wish to populate it, and the tagging. I click next, I add that VXC, and I place that order. And I place that order. There we go. So that's those services ordered. So as you can see, that was really simple. So I'm now going to check to see if there are any questions. Let me just move this out of the way. So let's just see if we've got any questions. Right. Do you support 95th percentile billing? At this time, Megaport does not support a 95th percentile billing. However, you can flex using our range of flexible bandwidth options, and pricing is extremely competitive. So if, say, for instance, you wanted to take a service, you could take, say, a 1 gig connection into the internet on term, say for 36 months, but you had the requirement operationally from time to time to need to flex to, say, 2 or 3 gig, you can take that extra 2 gig or 1 gig or 2 gig on an hourly basis. So if you were only to use it for 2 days, you'd only pay for those 2 days, and then you could revert back to your 1 gig overall throughput. So that's a very flexible service that can be done by API or Terraform, or you can do it by manually going into the portal. The next question is, what route advertisements options do you offer? Well, we can do from default only, which is just obviously a single route, all the way through to full table, which is a complete internet routing table of 90,000 routes. And we can do things like customer and customer appear. So there's tiers depending on the level of intricacy that you want from your routing table. Okay, I think we'll leave it there for questions for the time being. So just to recap, the Megaport Internet allows your organization to have internet capability whilst requiring no upfront investment from just a minimum hourly term. It creates an instant point of presence on the internet in up to 16 countries, only requiring a small amount of configuration on your Megaport services. And it can be great for projects short and long term, disaster recovery, for a whole host of requirements. It's easy to deploy. There are very easy to follow documentation on our website, and obviously consultants like myself can be available to help you deploy that. And I think that's it. So I hope this session has been useful, and please look out for other Megaport live sessions, as they are great sound bites to see what's evolving in the world of cloud and network connectivity. So until then, thank you and goodbye.